welcome to the Live Loving live stream with John Davis. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the Live Loving live stream. That music was pretty darn loud, wasn't it? I think so. Hey, what do you guys think of the new set? I'm very excited. This has been with the new computer. I wanted to up my my video game here, and I dug out my good camera, and I have got myself set up here with a real backdrop. This is a picture of my mother, who I talk about very frequently, and right next to her is my son, who's now 19, and of course my good buddy over here. And you know, when I take my face off of camera, watch what he does. He peeks at you. So no green screen whatsoever. It's just me here in the studio, chatting with you about all kinds of cool things. And I thank you so much for being here. It makes me very excited with the new computer and everything. It makes everything go so much smoother and easier. And the new lighting is much easier for me to actually talk to you guys. It's not something beaming in my face like the other one is. With the green screen, you have to constantly make sure the green is lit. So what I'm doing is I'm saving the green screen for my private sessions, and I'm doing all the live streams, and you'll start to see videos like with this backdrop coming out on the channel in the next week or so, because I usually get myself a little bit ahead. Well, I'm glad you love it, Marcy. I'm very excited about it. Very, very warm and cozy looking at it. And between you and me, I'm a very transparent person. Those bricks back there are a vinyl sheet that have a print of brick on them. I know it. I probably shouldn't have told you that, but I just like the look of brick, and we've had since the beginning episodes of this channel. I've always had a brick theme going back there, so I say I gotta have brick of some kind. But no, I don't have a brick wall in my house like that. That's actually a vinyl sheet, which I just think is really funny. So anyway, guys, it's been an amazing week this week. You might notice I'm a little bit raspy this week. I had 18 private sessions this week, and a couple of interviews, and it's been a very, very, very busy week. And I'm feeling it in my throat, so you'll be seeing me drinking from my son's Pirates of the Caribbean mug here throughout the evening. And so if you see me stop and take a drink, it's because I'm cooling my throat down. You know, before I get into your questions, and I saw we already had one come in, and I thank you so much for having a question come out first, Chitra. I love when I get the questions early, because it makes the flow easier on the entire session, the entire live stream. But I wanted to just kind of say I went out to dinner tonight with an old friend, and I haven't seen him in a long, long time. And we sat there and we reminisced about all old times and fun things we did, and very creative things we did. We were both in theater, and he and I years ago wrote a musical narrative of the Ballad of Robin Hood, and I wrote all the scripts, and then he did all the music, and there was a troubadour character who sang in and out of all the scenes. So there was a musical element throughout, but it turned out to be a really fun show. And we talked about that, and it made me really think, driving home tonight, in our lives, we always go through life, and we're trying to figure out, what's most important. And what's most important is love. What's most important is the not only love itself, but the expression of love, and the memories of love, and the anticipation of love, and the idea of love. And when you look at love in your life, there's always an opportunity for romance or lust even, but those are just elements of love. And when you really dive into love itself, it's that joyful, light feeling. It's that feeling that we really is our baseline. It is our natural state. And the fear itself is the illusion of not having love. And when we look at the moments of our life that are so troubling and struggling, we have those moments in our past where we didn't. And the moment in our experience where we felt that freedom and that fun and that joy. And, when we leave this world, we're going to have our memories of those tough moments as well. But the ones that will shine and will stand out in your life are the moments where you were expressing love in something. You know, I told a story a long time ago about the lady asked me why cars merge easily with me on the highway. And my response was, because I love driving. So driving gives me love in return. And I think when you're going through life, you need to look at your life in the element of, how can I love more? How can I do what Joshua said and love one another? How can I express that love in a way for others and for myself? Because that's a very interesting experience. This week for me has been 18 private sessions, writing a book, doing interviews, building this studio, and yet, and my voice is a little raspy today, yes, and yet, even though there was a lot of work to be done and a lot of struggles to be done to get it all done, I feel so good to come here now and talk to you about things that fill my heart, things that fill my soul, and things that make me feel like I'm living in love. And thank you for being here to let me blabber on about love. And love is all there is. Larry, you are absolutely correct. Hey, Corey Taylor made it. Did you get my message, Corey? Let me jump up to Chitra again. No matter how much I keep loving in the forefront of my mind, I slip often into the grumpy mood because of someone did or said. Any advice? Yes, absolutely. This is actually a great question, Chitra, because when someone says something or did something, it's the reason we get grumpy is because of, in some way, love is being denied. Love is being held back from you. And we get grumpy because our natural state is love, and we're trying to live loving, but they're being grumpy. When I get into those situations and I have that person in front of me who is really not living loving, the first thing I ask myself is, what is their fear? Where are they not being loved? And if I can find that expression, why do they feel like they're not loved? Now, you can't ask that question because they'd be offended by that sometimes. But if you could just figure out what it is they're afraid of, and a lot of times people get afraid of never getting ahead in life or never fulfilling their dreams and desires. But dreams without actions are simply daydreams. And sometimes when people are daydreaming their entire time, they never get a chance to actually create an action. So they never have trust developed that it's happening, because trust is developed by results over time. And so you have to look at those other people, and you have to say to them, what is, in your mind, to say, what is their fear? And how can I address their fear? It's like the story I've told of the waitress. She said, I'm having a horrible night and it's going to reflect in the service. And I knew I could change her. I could change her mind. I knew I could change her mind. But I just said, no, I'm so sorry. I gave her compassion. Why don't you sit down? I'll get you some dinner and I'll handle the rest of your tables. Right? It made her laugh. It made her smile. And then I did not give her the negative response she was delivering. I gave her a loving response. And that loving response itself made her realize she was in a negative response. And also understand, Chitra, that in your statement you said, I slip often into grumpy mood, right? When you're slipping into something, that's because there's subconscious belief there. And so it really comes down to looking at what you're saying about your present moment. It's the I am moment, the God moment, not the I was moment, not the I will be moment. So if you're slipping into something, it's because you're slipping out of time. You're slipping into either a future event that you're afraid of or a past event that you're anchored to. And the key really is to get very present in being loving. And understand, just if you are the perfect essence of love in this world, then you wouldn't be here. Because this place is about experiencing our momentary lapses and our slips so that we can understand what love is. And we understand it sometimes by experiencing the lack thereof. So I hope that answers your question. I'm going to jump down here because I know I hear a bunch of things popping up, but I want to. Well, Bridget, we are so happy to have you here too. Well, good. I'm glad you're looking forward to it. I was really excited about this week because I did work hard all week long to get this studio set up the way it is, and I had to tear apart my other one to get this soundboard set up so that I would actually have sound here tonight. But I loved it. I just loved it. Being ready for this evening and showing off my new set and my buddy, of course. So, but yeah, Bridget, I'm so glad you're here too. Sending you love. Hi. So I already said hi to Corey. You are quite welcome, Corey. My problem is. Okay, great. This is a great one. My problem is that I'm working this position because it pays well and has terrific benefits, but it's not my passion. There's two things I could say about this. The money that you're making for it and the benefits that you're getting from it. What does that serve? Does that serve the people you love? Does that serve your family? Can you shift your passion about the business? Because what's obviously happened is the business hasn't given you reasons to be passionate about that work. Number one, because if they were showing you, that it was something that you could get really passionate about, or not thinking about their bottom line as much as how they could serve you, you might be more passionate about it. But is that money serving your family? Is that money serving you? Are those health benefits doing things? And what is the most important thing in your life? I've been to 30 countries around the world, and I've asked in every country I've ever been in, what's most important to you? I have never once heard anyone say my job. And I have never heard anyone say, they don't even say my health. What they say is my family. And can you get passionate about, I am doing this for my family. I'm doing this for that, if that's something you're passionate about. Now, but if you have another passion, let me just say this. When COVID hit, I was making a lot of money as a corporate speaker. And COVID hit, and I felt so free to come back to do the work that I know that I'm passionate about, this spiritual work, right? And there's a saying that the old Indian Larry, the old bike builder, used to make called "Do what you love, and the money will come." And I have found that to be true. I mean, I don't make nearly as much as I did as a corporate speaker, and some months it's like, okay, thank you God for the unexpected income I'm receiving, right? But I'm much happier now. I might make less, but I'm much more free and more joyful in my time here on earth. So, and if you have a passion, and you know what your passion is, most people have a real struggle with the idea that they have to leave one thing and completely and go do their passion. There's always a way to start doing your passion as a hobby and then transition into that as a career. There's always a way. It doesn't have to be one ends, the other one starts. Transition your way into it, and that's going to be the best way I could ask you to think about this. Hello, Jonathan Davis. How are you? I love that name. My name's John, not Jonathan, but I still love Jonathan Davis. That's great. It's been one of those weeks this week. I mean, I put out a lot of work this week too. That's why I'm drinking the Pirates of the Caribbean water. Pirates of the Caribbean. I have a kid who is in second year of a full ride scholarship at university, and we are what you consider underprivileged. I guess even I've worked my. It kind of stops there. Well, I mean that's amazing. Your child has gotten a full ride scholarship. That's amazing. That's wonderful. I don't know what the rest of your statement was going to be because it kind of cut off there. Okay, there you go. Yeah, I see the next one. Setting 11, who's Becky? Anyway, he's being considered by Princeton University for special internship this summer. He is super amazing, but has struggles, in my opinion. Overzealous with the church. Any advice? Are you saying that he is overzealous with the church? Is this something you're not, but he is? Oftentimes, people get overzealous with the church because of the way they've been raised. But if you're his mother, is he being raised outside of your beliefs? That would be the question I would have to ask. And if he is struggling, usually it's because, especially someone who's obviously as accomplished as he is, he might have a situation where he believes to receive the love that he needs in his life, he needs to always get the perfect grades and the perfect straight A's, and he always needs to be perfect, and that in itself can be a almost phobic in the way it plays out. They need to be perfect. They need to get the greatest grades. They need to be the best because they're afraid of not being loved if they don't. So if you could just express to him that no matter what you don't care who or what, but you're always going to love him, and that to me is the biggest important part. Hello there from Scotland. I have to go to Scotland one of these days. My ancestry it does take me back to the Rose clan in Scotland. So I'd be very interested to go see that sometime. He can get really caught up. Yeah, I'm sure. So what other questions do you guys have? I really like to keep the questions or just flat out topics. I like to keep them going because that way we can get the most information out to you guys. And so, Becky, I'm not sure you're gonna like what I'm gonna say. You need to get rid of the need. I need some serious help. You don't need anything. There is no need for you. You're the creator of the experience. Your boss is the creator of theirs. The question is, are you so engaged in what your boss is saying that you are feeling judged, that you are feeling beat down, that you are feeling... but no one can beat you down, and no one can hold you down, and no one can diminish you without your cooperation. You have to be the one to let them, because you say she's a beast. She's not. I don't know if it's a man or a woman, but your boss is a beast. Does the beast physically harm you? Probably not, right? But if they do, then call the cops, right? But if it's just that they're tough and they're hard and they're you can be attached to their outcome, or you cannot be. You can do the best you can do, and they may just be butt heads in the process. And so, but it really comes down to a lot of other things. Now, here's another thing. Becky, I said earlier that she's probably got a fear of her own, right? She's a boss. So what fear could a boss have? A boss could be totally afraid of failing. And so she might have high expectations because she's expecting it to go the way she wants it to go, but she's not meeting you where you are. She's coming to you from where she wants you to be. And that is never a good leader. That is never a good boss. People are more effective when you meet them where they are, and you use vision and direction to show them the way, and then they go there, because that's the loving way to do it. But to go there with expectations is just a conditional love. And so don't bow to the conditions. Don't bow to the conditions. If there's a story I've often told about my friends who worked in Orlando, Florida at the Pirates Dinner Theater. And every day they would come in and they had these two beautiful pirate ships that looked like historical ships. They were dark wood with maroon and burgundy and gold and all this beautiful, they looked like real ships. And one day they came in and the ships were pink. And all the cast members got really mad. What are they doing? They're ruining the. And then one of the cast members finally just turned to the rest and said, "Hey guys, it's not your pink pirate ship. It's not your pink. It's theirs. It's their business. She's the boss of that business. She's showing you she's not invested in you. She's showing you that she's only invested in what she can get you to do." And that's what I would call a transactional relationship. I have several friends, and I call them friends because I will always be friendly, because that's I choose to live in a loving and caring and friendly way. But I know full well when I get a phone call, and I got one today actually. "Gosh, I haven't talked to you in so long. I've been wanting. We should get together. I just want to see how you are." And I know that when I finally respond to that phone call, it's going to end up with him asking me to do something for him. Usually with him, he's going to ask me to weld something for him. Oh, thank you, Larry. You have no idea how much those super chats help me survive. So thank you so much. That's really, really wonderful. I totally appreciate that. But when to go back to the boss, she has her own issues. She has her own fears. But if you're succumbing to her fears, you're living her life and not your own. You need to step into that space of saying, I'm sorry she feels that way. Maybe I'll tell her that I'll, tell her to sit down and let me get her some dinner while I go feed the rest of her tables. It's the same situation. She's struggling, and she's making you struggle to try to live up to her. And that's the tough part. And that's just it, Becky. But what I'm hearing in your conversation is that, thank you, Becky. What I'm hearing in your conversation is that not only is she the way she is, but I hear your attachment to what she's saying. I hear your attachment to her expectations. And the guy that I had dinner with tonight, my friend, he works at Lowe's, the hardware store, and he said something as we left tonight. I said, "Well, I hope you don't work too hard tonight." He says, "Well, I can only do what I can do, and if it doesn't get done, it doesn't get done. But I'll do my best, and if it doesn't get done, it doesn't get done." And he's not attached to the outcome that they're expecting him to meet. He's only attached to what he's capable of and what is able to do. And I think that's great, because you can do your best and work hard and to try to please, or you can work your best and do hard, have the same outcome, and they're not going to be pleased at all. But the trying to please is the attachment to their love, wanting their positive reinforcement and love in return. And sometimes the way you love someone like that is just to do your best and not get attached to their feelings. Because the more angry you get, the more you're feeding it. The less attachment, the less reactive you are, the less upset you get about it, the less she has to bounce off of. And that's really kind of an important thing, is to realize it's your attachment to her expectations that you're holding on to. What surprised me the most on my spiritual journey? What an interesting question. What surprised me the most on my spiritual journey? Well, I've said this in other videos. When I look around the room, I see the dots in motion. I see energy in motion. It's the way my eyes work. And that happened after the second psychic reading I had when Jeshua was channeled for me, and that's the channeling where he said, "John of old, John of new, I love you. I've always loved you. I will always love you. I'm with you. I've always been with you. I always will be with you." That was after that experience. He said, "Open your eyes and see." And after that experience, I have seen everything as just a pure energetic illusion. And that was the most surprising thing to me, was the realization that we are all in the image of God. The Bible says you are created in God's image. Everything you're seeing and experiencing is the oneness of God and the experience of God. And it's all an energetic illusion of belief. And when I first had that epiphany, I was sitting on a beach in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. I'll never forget it. I was sitting on a beach and I was looking at the ocean. And for a brief instant, I felt like I could stick my hand out and pick up the ocean. And I think back to the Bible where it says, if faith is as small as a mustard seed, you can ask a mountain to move, and it would move. Nothing would be impossible for you. And that moment, nothing was impossible for me. I saw the world as a series of collages that I could just grab and move. And that was probably the one of the biggest things. And it still goes on today. Because like I say, when I look at the room, when I look at people, I see like a halo around them. And then when I see domineering people, I see the people they're dominating, that halo feeds into the other person. And seeing those sorts of energies have been very fascinating in my life. But it was an interesting question. I hadn't gone there before. I looked at the Jeshua face and said it was. Are you talking about the painting I did of Jeshua over here? That is the painting I did from my regression, explaining what he does look like. So to me, that when I turn my head and he peeks at you, those are the eyes that I saw in the regression. So I'm not sure what I don't. I don't understand your question. Are you asking about a paint? I am working right now on a painting. It's kind of laid out. I haven't really had the time to devote a lot of time to it. But it's a painting of Jeshua and his wife laughing together, and I'm really kind of excited to get that painting going. But I'm so busy right now with private sessions that I have to do it a little bit at a time. So I've got the canvas on the other easel, my big easel, and it's kind of sketched out, but paint has not hit canvas yet. But it's coming. It's coming. Another tousled. I have heard similar experiences between having a near-death experience and those who had DMT. Is that a drug? I'm not sure what DMT is. I don't know what DMT is. So let me know if that's a drug, and then I do have concepts. You know what? It was funny. Patty, your question. When you were little, did you think the biblical teachings you were being taught were wrong? It was my childhood was very much unlike some of my brothers and sisters. I mean, they were very much, praying to God, and I just wasn't there. I never felt anything in a church until the priest started to scare me with fear, and in the book that I'm writing right now, the Recovering Catholic's Guide to Spirituality, I tell the story about my brother taking me for putt-putt golf and ice cream one Sunday morning instead of church, and the next sermon I heard was mortal sin and how missing mass was a mortal sin. and I knew I was going to hell, and I was terrified and screaming and very upset with and that I was going to burn in hell, and oh, it was terrible. It's terrified 8-year-old, but I never ever really connected with with the church. It never and it wasn't even that what they were saying was wrong. It just didn't mean anything to me. There was no argument with it. It's just like, why are we here? Kind of that's the way I kind of looked at it. It was kind of strange. Um, yeah, Chitra, that is a great question. You ask, as time goes by, do you recall more of the past life 2,000 years ago? In hypnotherapy, and specifically past life regressions, there's a certain percentage of people who continue to get memories. I am one of those people. I get triggers. Like I'll be in a conversation with someone, which is one of the reasons I like to talk about spirituality, because sometimes a question or someone's thought that someone says will trigger a memory. And so the most recent one was somebody was asking about Mary Magdalene and what she looked like, and I have memories of her, but when they asked what she looked like, I had a new memory of her, and it was really interesting because it was a room, like a stone room. Like everything was all stones. There was tables there, and it was just her alone in the room, and me, and she was clearing the table, and we were laughing at something. We were literally laughing at something because I really believe John of Old and Mary Magdalene were friends. Were really more than just my friend's wife, but truly friendly, like friends. And so, but it was a beautiful memory. It really showed me a little bit more. So yes, I absolutely do still have memories coming in. Well, Larry, I am so happy with this new computer. You have it makes everything go smoother. It makes everything look good. And then because of the new computer, I could finally use my good camera. This is a Sony ZV-1, and I'll tell you, you'll talk about amazing focus. Check, this is the lens cap for the camera. Look how amazing that focus is on this camera. And that's why when I look away, Joshua peeks at you because it's catching the eye focus behind me. I just love and my other computer would never run this camera because this is a 4K camera, and so it would never run this camera. And so now, because of the new computer, the new camera, and I have my new mic up here, which is great. So this has been phenomenal. I'm so excited, so excited. Thanks to you guys, because if none of this live stream and the look of this live stream could in any way, shape, or form look this way without that amazing donations you guys made to buy this computer, because that my 2014 was not cutting it. Let me see what else here. Happy birthday, Thomas. I'm glad to be here. DMT is a drug. Okay, so altered consciousness. Whenever you take any sort of drug, whenever you take a hallucinogen, or even sometimes smoking and drinking, they're altering your consciousness, right? But in reality, it's the story I often tell of Richard Pryor and Jim Carrey sharing a joint, and Richard Pryor says to Jim Carrey, "You be careful with that stuff." And he says, "Why?" And Richard Pryor says, "Because I don't know if I'm funny or the cocaine is." Whenever we use something to alter our consciousness, we often will have a doubt whether it is a real experience or whether it's a drug-induced experience. And the near-death experience, which I've experienced, I want you guys to understand this. I have had the experience of going to this white expanse and seeing people and having them telling me I'm not supposed to be there and come back. And I did it while I was attempting another astral travel. I ended up there instead of where I wanted to be, which was just fun. It was just really joyful. But here's the one thing I would say: near-death experiences, absolutely, you could totally have them on a drug-induced experience, because you might literally be dying, right? and dying in the physical, right? Or you might literally just be releasing the illusion. The question then becomes is, did you do it or did the drug do it? And that's where people get lost. That's where addictions get set up. People realize that they have this thing here that they can now use to do that, right? When I had my first Kundalini rising, I was bringing the heat up my body, and it got to my chest, and I was trying to struggle to get it to go higher, and I couldn't go higher. And I heard the thought voice, and I say it that way because it's like hearing somebody else's thought in your head. It says, relax into it. And it was by my letting go that it happened. And a lot of times people will use the drugs or alcohol or hallucinogens as a means of letting go because they're so wound up and so tight they can't let go. And so you see it like, for instance, if I was a smoker, I need a cigarette, I need a cigarette. And they allow themselves to relax. I need a drink, I need a drink, I need a drink. And they allow themselves to relax, right? I need a slice of pizza. Allow myself to relax, right? But people attribute it to the substance, the cigarettes, the drink, the pizza. And in reality, it's the exhale. Because when we exhale, we're releasing our fears and our anxieties. We're shifting into a different state of consciousness. That's why at the end of the day, you start to yawn. Because you're literally releasing your fears so that you can drift into a different state of consciousness when you sleep. That's life is like scuba diving. We come down here and every 16 hours, we start to release the stuff that we need to go back up and get. Yes, and get more of the good stuff so we can come back down into the fear stuff. And it really comes down to us realizing there's nothing in the physical world that you need for spiritual awakening. There's nothing. All you really need is belief about your present moment. And whatever you believe, you will receive if you have faith. I believe I'm experiencing. I told the story several months ago about the the lady that I say that she's the one that I lost in the middle of a private session with her. I said, well, what do you want to get out of this? She said, I want to see the other side. And she literally collapsed and died in front of me. And then she came back. Now, did she actually die? I don't have any medical proof that she died. I know that her bladder and her bowels evacuated into her pants. And I had to pull her tongue out of her mouth. So if she could breathe, she could. And we called an ambulance. And eventually she came up and she was like, I said, what happened? She says, I saw the other side. I saw the energy of everything, and I saw the illusion of it all. She explained things that I already see and already saw. And so to me, it was like, what did she ask for? I said, what do you want? I said, thank you. And she said, I want to see the other side. I said, so let's say this together. Thank you, God, for the vision of the other side that I'm receiving. Amen. And she said it, and she believed it, and she got it. But it's not about a drug. It's not about a hallucinogen. It's not about anything else. Nothing in the physical world is needed. It simply comes down to your faith about your present moment. I hope that answers your question. So there we go. Well, and Thomas, thank you for the lots of love. I appreciate that. And I hope you're having a great birthday. I'll sing a little song for you. This is your birthday song. It isn't very long. Anyway. Yeah. Okay. Catholic masses were so boring. I didn't get anything out of it, but I always worried I'd go to hell. My favorite Catholic mass was midnight mass. I like the candles. I like the choir singing beforehand. I like the incense. I actually like the incense. And actually bought frankincense and myrrh and burned it in my house over Christmas. And that is some pungent stuff. Oh, thank you about the light. These are really nice newer lights, and they have I can set them up so that they can be pure white, but I kind of like this sort of yellowish color because it gives me a little bit more natural look. I think. Um, Hello in Florida, Renee. How are you? Actually, this flag you see behind me, I am not a veteran, but let me tell you what I am. I am a comedian. I did 6 USO tours from 2001 to 2006. I did over 100 shows on the front lines of Iraq, and many, many more over in Afghanistan, and 12 other countries, 14 other countries. Um, and when I every time I would do a show, they would bring us a certificate of appreciation or something, and we did one of our last tours actually, and came back to the States, and when I was performing at the Maryland Renaissance Festival, and after the show, two soldiers walked up to me, and they said, "We brought something to you from Iraq." And I'm like, "What?" And they handed me this flag, and this flag that you're seeing behind me uh, flew in a U-2 spy plane in suborbital flight and two unmanned drone missions. And these soldiers, because we came over to them, they got these flags and brought them from there back to DC and brought them out to the festival to deliver them to us. So it's got a very special meaning to me. And I have a plaque that has the actual list of the flights that it did. But that that flag has been in space. So that to me is exciting. So um, anyway, so yeah, that's my connection to the military. Um, and let me tell you something about why I did the USO shows. One day I was in Ramadi, Iraq. And I could show you someday. I'll show you a picture of me dressed in a Renaissance costume, standing in front of the Palace of Ramadi. Really strange. Um, but I had a soldier come up to me. He said, "Mr. Davis, this morning I was in a firefight, and this afternoon for 2 hours, I forgot all about it. Thank you so much for coming." My job was to go over there and be the pressure release valve. I went over there to make them smile, to show them love. And to give you an interesting story, um, the whole time I was there, I never was afraid. Even when we were in the town of Samara, and some bad guys shot a rocket-propelled grenade at a helicopter I was in. Um, and it missed us, and then we went looking for them and never found them. But I never felt afraid the whole time I was there. And it was just like, okay, this is kind of the way it is. So, but I was there on purpose. I was there literally to deliver love to those people who, if you think about what the American military does, a lot of people will chastise the military, but these people volunteer to go anywhere in the world to defend us, even though, I don't believe in a lot of the aggression of it all, but they volunteer to go anywhere to defend us. That's a loving thing in my book. So I will go there to help relieve their pressure so that they don't do unloving things. So that's my thought on that. Oh, I'm glad you like the hack and slash videos. That's you probably saw them towards the end of my career. Someday I'll show you guys a sword fight on here. In fact, hang on. Let me see if I think I might even have it line queued up somewhere. Let me see. Are you here? Oh no, you're not there anymore. I'll have to for another live stream. I'll show you guys the sword fight because that would be fun. That would just be fun to do. I'm glad you like them. Oh, I'm glad you like the birthday song. um, what was the significance of the gifts brought by the three wise men? I have no clue. um, first of all, I'm not even 100% sure that's a true story. Um, Most of the virgin birth stories are adopted from pagan belief and brought in. The majority of virgin births that are found in antiquity are from Rome. And even in Greece as well, Plato is supposedly a virgin birth. Horus in Egypt is a virgin birth. And many Roman gods are virgin births. And so I'm not 100% sure the story is even real. I think it might have been an adopted story brought in. So I truly don't know. And as I said, John didn't know Jeshua as a boy. I met him. He was already married, and his father was already gone. So I don't have much memory of that. Thank you, Jonathan. It is my joy in life to come here and share my truth. I don't ask anybody to ever believe me. I think that spirituality is a personal journey. Well, this beautiful lady right over here, my mom, she told me that when I was 18 years old, and I took it to heart. I think each one of us has our own journey to walk and our own path to follow. And if it feels true to you, follow it. And if it doesn't feel true to you, don't. And find your own path, because as the Bible says, in my Father's house there are many mansions. And I can tell you, I've studied a lot of religions, and I have met beautiful Hindu people, beautiful Buddhist people, beautiful Muslim people, beautiful Baha'i people, beautiful Wiccans. I've met beautiful people all over, and I think that if they're loving, they found God, and that's just kind of the way I kind of see the thing. Chicha, it was the entertaining the troops was absolutely my pleasure. The one regret I had about doing it was the act that was on the tour on the I think it was either the second to last or the last tour we were on. The act that was on the base the week before us was Robin Williams, and I never got a chance to meet him. So, but we were the act following Robin Williams the week later, which is not a good act to follow. That is my mama in the photo behind me. Let me see if I can give you a better look of mom here. This is my beautiful mother when she was 86 years old. And no, she doesn't have antennas. She was a lovely, lovely person. And sometimes when I'm sitting there writing my book, and I write something funny, I can feel her laughter, which it's very much a clue that I'm writing something good, because if the Catholic woman thinks my recovering Catholic book is funny, then that's good. I once had to leave Mass and sit outside because I felt I was suffocating. I was about 12. I've always wondered if that was an anxiety attack or if I really felt that I was spiritually suffocating. What is suffocation? Suffocation, for most people, is holding in air. They're holding in air. Now, what is holding in air? It's the primal reaction of your body to fear. So the church was scaring you. So you got into this place and you felt like you couldn't breathe. But in reality, what you were doing is you were having a fear response and holding in air. And you had to go outside so you could breathe, so you could let go. And guess what? The most beautiful places in the world, God is there too. I have not heard of Emanuel Swedenborg. I'll have to look into that and see what I can discover. Although I will tell you, I get people suggest books to me and authors to me, but my hours are really kind of limited right now. So I have to do it when I have an opportunity. Usually, what happens is I get my videos way ahead. Like I'll get it way out to a week or so out, and then I have time to go read something give myself that moment of experiencing, another thought or another idea, and to me that's hugely important. Um, William Blake, I'll have to look into that too. Well, I like Mass as a visitor. I used to take friends with me who were not in any way, shape, or form. And one of the funny, one of the funniest moments, I took my friend to a Catholic Mass, and you know, I like to think of Catholic Masses as calisthenics: sit, stand, kneel, sit, stand, kneel, sit, stand, kneel. And he had never been to a Catholic Mass, and he's like, "Will you please rise? Please sit. Please kneel." And the guy, he says, "Will you please rise?" My friend says, "Jesus Christ." Made me laugh out loud because he said it and he called himself. What do you make me sit, stand, kneel for? Oh, just so funny. um, you know what, Chitra. It was a long week, and today has been a day where I had the morning off, and I got to play with the new equipment, which was really fun. And then I had a dinner with a dear friend, and so that was just lovely to go see my dear friend. And then I get to come here and laugh with you guys and smile with you guys, and I enjoy this time with you so much. And I'm so glad that the computer and everything is all working again, because it's like I really do enjoy this. So. Becky, your statement, I've heard of him, but skeptical of some of his stuff. As I said, spirituality is a personal journey. That's great, because that shows you that maybe that teaching isn't for you, and it really comes down to you saying, okay, that's not my bag, right? There's a lot of teachings out there that I don't jive with, and I find that when I read most spiritual texts or ancient spiritual texts, even, I always try to look at it from the perspective of, is this loving? And if it feels too convoluted, or it makes my head hurt, or or too much thought behind it, then I feel this is going down the journey of trying to explain it as opposed to just being it and living it and feeling it. And so, to me, that's how I discern. But I know science-minded people who have to have the explanation. But as long as they're loving, that's all that really matters. To me, anyway. Uh, Patty, that's a very, very, very interesting question about splitting the screen and having asked questions live. It's that is a very logistically difficult thing to do, um, because of the fact that would be basically a webinar software, and so we would have to be running it through Zoom or something like that, and then you'd be limited to a certain number of people who could actually get on. Um, and then and then I would have to have somebody here handling that, because I would be talking, and then they would, if I was constantly trying to figure out who was going to come up next and whatever, and then it would be a logistical nightmare for me to try to do it all. Because right now I am a one man band. I'm doing everything myself, right here live. Um, but I can look into it, but I think that I would have to get. I'm on a a platform called Podia. That's where I sell all my meditations and all my mini courses about healing and stuff. And I can up my membership of that to um, to include a webinar platform. But problem with the webinar platform is, well, problem with upping my membership is it would triple the amount of what I have to pay for it. Um, but yeah, I'd have to really look into that. So I will. I'll see what I can figure out. But it doesn't look likely. Let me just put it that way. Um, the Book of Joy about Desmond Tutu and the Dalai Lama had an interesting point that one of the faults of religion is the inability to accept others' religious beliefs. Absolutely true. And that's one of my biggest issues with uh, one of the things that happened at the Nicene Council. at the Nicene Council before the Nicene Council, Jeshua was either a teacher, a prophet, or a fraud. That's how various people believed about him. But they made the decision at the Nicene Council that he was the Son of God. And once he became the Son of God, all other religions were wrong. And then the Crusades and the Spanish Inquisition and all of the things that happened after that. And then Christianity specifically is the deadliest spiritual thought in the world. It's killed more people in the name of Jesus, and not Jeshua, Jesus, because I don't believe they're the same person, because he didn't believe in a Christ figure. He didn't believe in a Messiah, and not believing in the Messiah. The word Christianity, it's the Christ is the first part of that, and that is anointed one or Messiah or Savior, and so I agree with you by saying that we are right and all the rest are wrong. You're just creating conflict. That's why I truly believe the spiritual has a personal journey, and in my Father's house there are many mansions, and father, mother, I don't care. There's no gender in God. It's all one. you're in your PJs. Well, I'm never going to tell you what's below my waist. That's what's the best part about live streams. You never have to know what's below the desk. Well, Chitra, why don't you? He's right there. um, you are not separate from Jeshua. Jeshua is not separate from you. Close your eyes, feel the love, and realize that love is what he emanated, and that you in your room right now, you have the ability to touch not only Jeshua but Krishna and Buddha and Muhammad and Aunt Tilly. You have the ability right in that room to feel their presence, because that is the oneness of God, and that is your gift. You are part of the oneness of God, and no part of that oneness of God is less important or more important than you. You have the ability to connect just at the bottom of every breath. So you don't need to ask me. Just feel it and go for it. You'll love it. You'll have a great time. I hope you get that. Good night, Gunhild. It was a pleasure to have you. I know you're overseas, so it's very late for you. Thank you for being here. I totally appreciate it. Did Jeshua ever talk about where he was from age 14 to 30? I have no memory of him talking about it, but it was very much understood that he was in the Far East. He was in India, in those areas. He never called it India, but it was very much understood he was there. Now, when you go and you study in India, you find out very quickly about Sri Isa, and they believe that it was Sri Isa was Jeshua from the time between 14 and 30, and they can tell you where he was, they can tell you what he taught, they tell you where he was, and when you ask what happened to him, they say he went back to his country, was crucified. So, and you can find a lot of information out there about Jesus in India, but I have no direct memory of him saying it. But it was pretty much just an understood that when I met him, it was as if he was coming back. Well, I'm glad you like that, Chitra. Yeah, there you go. See, Chitra's right there for me. Beautiful. So, well, guys, it's getting late, and thank you once again for the super thanks. They, as I said before, they are very, very, very helpful, and super chats. They are very helpful. They do help the channel grow, and I appreciate that. And I'm glad you like the new set, and you'll be seeing a lot more of it. And the live streams will have this new camera and this new computer and doing all these things. So expect good things to come from the John of New channel and the John of New studios. Let me see what we have here. Becky, your friend feels she has to be right. And that's the same as the Nicene Council. Same thing. Thomas, when I had my regression, and if you ever heard my regression, which is, there's a video on my channel that says 2 moments from my regression, and you can hear in that video. But if you want to hear the longer regression, you can get it on my YouTube channel, on my website. But at one point, the regressionist was confused because she didn't know whether I was with him or I was him. And she said, "Are you with him or are you him?" And my response was, "I'm within him," because I was experiencing my oneness with Jeshua, and he was right there. And so it was wonderful, absolutely. So anyway, thank you guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm going to go. Oh, thank you, Marcy. That's so lovely. Thank you. But I'm going to go. Let my throat rest with my nice Pirates of the Caribbean water. And you guys have a great night. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to do these every Friday night until there's a moment that I can't. So every Friday night, I'll be right here at 8 o'clock. So that's the plan. And the weeks I can't, I will let you guys know all in advance. So thank you guys. Have a great night. Bye, Whitebird. Bye, Marcy. Bye, Thomas. I feel like Kim Carey right now saying bye to everybody. Anyway, I'll see you next week. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining us at the Live Loving live stream. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and visit us at johnofnew.com.